All right, today is day 11 of 30 moves to 30K, your first deal, getting it done. And here's the thing, number 11, make sure when you buy a property you have adequate insurance. Now, what is adequate insurance? Well, it's going to depend on where the property is. And so, for example, let's say you pay all cash. Well, you want to at least insure all cash, right? So you protect that money. If you have a lender involved, you need to make sure that the insurance amount is at least the amount of the loan so that if everything goes south, then the lender gets paid and you end up with a property with no debt, but the lender is paid off. So you got to make sure you cover those basics. But you may want to go farther depending on where it is. I'll give you a couple examples. You might have a property in a hot market, and let's say the thing gets hit by something extreme like a tornado. Well, you may not want to sell that property because it's still going up and it's like, hey, let's rebuild. The insurance is going to write you a check to rebuild. Okay, and that's basically a property coverage amount, and different insurers are going to use slightly different terms to describe it, but you're figuring out how much insurance you're giving that property in the event of a total loss and you got to rebuild from the ground up. What's another example? Let's say you're in an urban area, and I say urban not to be stereotypical, it just is what it is, and it's an area that has more theft. So not every carrier is going to protect for theft. In fact, some carriers may look at the property and go, high crime rate, we don't want to insure for theft there. And then you buy it thinking you're covered and someone breaks in, next thing you know, you're out 20 grand. So that's a problem. You want to make sure that if you're in an area that is maybe not the best, that you've got insurance for theft. What's another example? Flood insurance. We had a scenario once, really made me annoyed, where there was a creek nearby. It was not in a flood zone, didn't matter. The area got hit by a 100-year storm, not once, twice, 2 days back to back. Next thing you know, we had $30,000 in damages. Ouch. Okay. Nobody did anything wrong. Nobody planned it. It just like it, and all the people that had been there were like, we've never seen anything like this. There you go. So, in that scenario, if you see water, what was the lesson? If you see water even remotely near the property, buy flood insurance. It's super cheap, especially when you're not in the flood zone. So when that 100-year flood shows up, you're covered. So ask me how I know. So insurance is absolutely critical, but don't just go get a quote. Don't be like, let's go get the cheapest quote, because the cheapest quote will get you burned. Like, you got to make sure you're properly protecting the property for what the risks are. So you got to know a little bit about the market. What are the risks in the market? And get the carrier that will protect it appropriately. Yes, it may cost a little more. It'll be worth it, because when something goes south, like the flood thing I just mentioned, I promise you the flood insurance would have been a whole lot cheaper than the damage. So that is something you need to keep in mind. Get multiple quotes, talk to multiple carriers, pick a deductible that makes sense. We can talk about this for a while, but here's the thing. Make sure you have adequate insurance, and that will help you out. If you want to connect with me to talk further, link is below, and I'll see you in the next video.